Okay, good morning. We are back on the big site this week for a catch-up. We've got further problems with the weather. Wind today is at about 300 mile an hour. In the last 24 hours, we've had about another 700 mil of rain, it feels like, and we have got to find a way to combat this wet weather. So this is one of the ways that we've thought of doing it. Now what we've got here is we've knocked some shutter boxes up because some of the chambers that we're left to try and put in over there where we're constructing the road, we haven't got time to wait for a pre-constructed base to the chamber. So you can buy your chambers in the rings like these, and them rings then sit on top of a concrete pad in the bottom of the hole that we dig out. But unfortunately, we can't dig them out and pour concrete before they refill with water. So what we're going to try and do is, instead of waiting for these pre-formed chamber bases that you can install that already have the bottom section on, because there's a bit of a time delay on getting them in, we're going to try making our own. So we've knocked these shutter boxes up. We're going to fill these, or we're going to put a roll of visqueen effectively through, so it'll be like grease-proof paper in a baking tray. Then we're going to put some wire mesh in here. We're going to put some lifting eyes, and then we're going to fill this with concrete. We're going to vibrating poker it to get all of the air out of it and make it as strong as we possibly can. So hopefully we will be able to dig the chamber, or dig the hole for the chamber, set this base in, set the concrete ring on, and then concrete that in all on the same day without having to wait for that base layer to cure. And hopefully that'll combat all the water coming into that hole and the hole caving in before we have chance to wait the 2 days to then put the concrete around the chamber. So fingers crossed this is going to work. So Roymundo and the guys from ANMAC are now here, and they are putting all the curbs in. So if you remember the last time we were down here, Sean had pulled through the level of the stone to somewhere near so that we could get the curbing in. So Roy and the guys now have come in, they've put the curbs in, which I'll show you in a second. But this curb, as it comes down here, is basically between the two car parks of the Trent Fasteners unit and car park and Trent 2 stroke building for our customers car park there. So this section of road is where we'd already got the underground pipe in. All we've got to do here is put these gully pots in, which these are going to be the grid tops that you would see in the surface of your tarmac that will take the surface water from the road. So underneath us here now, we've got that surface water pipe along with the poo pipe, but the surface water pipe is the big sort of 300-400 mil pipe that runs down the length of the road, past this lake, past where Chris is working, right the way, and will connect into the new drainage channel that then runs into our attenuation pond down the bottom. So these gully pots that we put in will just catch any sediment off the road, and then the surface water from the road will go into that pipe, and away it goes. But at the moment, we can only get as far as the guys are now, because as you can see, the further down the site we go towards the main road connection, the wetter the site is to work on. So at the moment, they're trying to dig out. Again, we're pumping water constantly, but every time it just starts to dry up, we have this massive downpour again, and we're back to the beginning, because all of that there behind us and customers building, water off the roof, everything is all coming through this pipe and is just catching up with them, and they just can't dig it or pump it out quick enough to get the next section in. We spin round. So curbing wise, like I say, we've put the two connecting curbs in that run along this section of road here. We've sailed slightly past on the way down there where we've got to stop, and this way we've gone past customer said building with this side of the road, and we've still got to go a little bit further yet, and then we've had to put the drop curbs in ready for the tactile crossings of where you will cross from the pavement. So pavement is in all the way up here. That little drop curb there, you can see, matches with this one this side, and what we have to do there is when everything is tarmacked, that's where you'll see the little bobbles on the side of the pavement before you cross the road, and that's where they will go. So the idea is that you walk up this side of the road on the pavement, you get to the point in which you want to cross and go to customer said building or Trent 2, and then you can cross the road and carry on into the site there. So you'll see the curbs themselves are set quite high from what the base layer of stone that we've put in, but the road surface itself, or the build-up should I say of the road, is massive. So under here or underfoot now, we've probably got the best part of 400 or 500 mil of sub-base material. We've got to finish that off with another 400 or 500 mil of then MOT type 1, which is the smaller sort of 40 mil quarried material crushed to dust. That'll all come through, and then we've got the build up of tarmac to go on. So we'll have the base course of tarmac finished with the topping. So there's still a fair amount of material that needs to go into this section of road, but until this weather has dried up, or at least we can get rid of this water again, we can't really carry on with it for the minute. So last bit on the road really is we have blocked now Mark from the farm being able to access the balance of the grass field, because down in the bottom corner where we used to access it, that is now pretty much flooded or just a boggy mess while we're installing that attenuation pond. And this here, we've obviously put this row of curbs in. Behind us, we've got this issue with finishing off this section of road in the chambers. So at the moment, Mark can't get in, and again, if it ever dries up, in the next few weeks, we should be turning cattle out onto the land that we're not yet ready to develop to keep on top of the grass. So weekend we had Ditty in again, he's come in with me, and we've put a new section of top of the railway line. We've sort of scraped off the slop and put a ramp down at the end, so at least Mark can access from over that side without having to come through the construction site with all the farm equipment. So hopefully that'll stand up, albeit it is just a very temporary sand entrance at the minute, so hopefully that'll work. Moving on to customers building, we are very close to completion now and handover. Inside is pretty much finished. We've got JDC and the guys, they're just doing the last touches now. James, he's not here. Harry, he is. So they're in there getting finished up now. All the bollards are in, all the posts for the Armco barriers are up along this front edge. We've still got that strip to concrete, but again, it's just weather. We can't do it at the minute. We've got to get that strip concreted in, and then after that, ANMAC can surface that with tarmac all the way through to the ACOs, all round in one fell swoop. So once we get the next sort of decent week or 2 weeks worth of half dry weather, this place is going to look massively different. So we're going to finish off inside with the last couple of little bits. So we've got Wayne to come back. He has got the soil stack from the toilets basically just to divert to the outside of the building. So there's one hole for him to put in. Like I say, JDC are just finishing off now. Just in the aircon guys, they're all done. And then the only thing we've got left to do is we've got to put the handrail on, which is now made and painted. So that'll probably start going on next week. We've then got this little section of floor, which unfortunately, although the expansion joint was cut in the floor, it decided to crack just to the right hand side of the expansion joint. So customer wasn't happy, didn't look overly pretty. I can understand why. So what we've done is we've now channeled that out, and in order to fix that now and to make sure we still maintain the strength of the slab, what we've done is we've cut that out nice and tidy and neat. Then we will drill and put rebar into each section of the floor, pour that through then with a little bit of mesh in it, and that will then be finished up the same as this. So ultimately, although you'll see there is two lines in it and it looks like almost a trench, it will look a lot better than it would have done just leaving it as a crack. Although the crack didn't really have any structural issues, it was more aesthetically, and if you start getting muck in that crack, or the surface might start chipping out from that crack. So it's going to be done, finished, and everything will be nice then. Customers just waiting to decide whether they want to paint the floor in before they start bringing all the gear in, so that might be another job to go on our list. I'm not 100% certain yet. And the last piece of the puzzle for us, when JDC are finished, is going to be the pressure test. And that's when basically we come, or a chap comes and they suck all the air out the building and they see how long it takes for the building to fill back up with the air. And that number is what is related to the SBEM calculations and the last piece of the puzzle to sign off for building regs. As soon as we get building regs, we are signed off and done. Like we are now actually, because if you like what you've seen, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll catch you next time and leave you with a tiny montage of what's going on the big site, because it has been raining and that windy that Clayton didn't want to get his hair wet. Montage, boom.
you.